Good evening. Hope everybody had a happy new year. I just thought I'd make a video about some of the things that are going on with the weather, what we got going on the next 24, 36 hours. We do have a storm to deal with. It's actually fairly complicated. We have a storm coming in from Canada in this general direction, and then we'll also have another storm coming up from the south that energy meets, and this southern storm will be the main one that takes over. But that northern storm is going to be bringing a lot of Arctic air with it, and that's going to be very important in regards to snow ratios and snow totals. So moving right along here, and I do apologize, not too good with these videos. This is a new program too. Here's what I was talking about. Here's the northern energy kind of strung out, and then to the south we have plenty of moisture beginning to build. It doesn't look like much now, but trust me, it will get its act together. So this is the National Weather Service in regards to their watches and warnings. Obviously, the bigger snow threat is going to be in New England. So that's where you see the winter storm warnings in the pink, and then you also have blizzard warnings out here on Long Island, east of New York City. In our area, there's a lot of question marks, and that's why we've actually been put under a winter storm watch. Which basically means that conditions are possible for over 6 to 8 inches of snow, 6 down in Philly, 8 once you get into the Reading area. Some locations in the Lehigh Valley are already under the warning there because the conditions to reach 8 inches seems pretty likely. Back to the west, not so much. They're just under winter weather advisories, and then obviously there's less down here where there's no warnings or watches at all. So, and this is a graphic by AccuWeather. Basically, just I like their graphics. I think it's decent the way they show things. Sometimes their accuracy isn't always right, but definitely going to be a heck of a blizzard in southeast New England, and then extending down to New York City. This heaviest snow band they got here, that's a little bit of a misnomer because there's going to be some action in our region, and I feel like I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. So this was a snowfall forecast that AccuWeather had put out yesterday, I believe. Yes, December 31st. So they actually did have 6 to 12 getting back to the Lehigh Valley region, and obviously the heavier snows up here. But generally speaking, southeast PA was only 3 to 6 inches. I feel like that's too low, and because they hop around with the models, they went even lower today, and that's going to end up being a mistake. But just going to the future weather radar, this is 8 a.m. Tomorrow. Oh, what happened there? It's supposed to be a laser. 8 a.m. tomorrow, and what you have is some precipitation to the north. This stuff out here really doesn't matter much, but our activity is going to be coming in from the west and then also from the southwest. So this is 8 a.m. tomorrow, not much going on. Jumping ahead to, this is 3 p.m. And you see this blue line is the 32-degree line, and then the precipitation is beginning to come in from the west. These brighter white areas, and particularly the red areas, that's heavy snow. So after 3 o'clock, jumping to 6 p.m., just about to break into our region. South Central PA is getting some snow. Southeast PA just on the cusp of getting it. So 6 p.m. to, and this is 8 p.m. By 8 p.m., heavy snow has already moved in. That's the red and the brighter white areas. So start time in between 6 and 8 p.m. seems pretty good. And then moving right along here, this is heavy snow, and that's 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. tomorrow night. So that's heavy snow in southeast PA, obviously in Long Island, and also up into New England. Midnight, still you got heavy snow going on in southeast PA, and obviously also in southern New England as well. And I jumped ahead a little bit just so we can keep things moving, but this is 4 a.m. Friday morning. Really heavy snow in New York City, but it's just about to come to an end in our region. Still decent snow is going on there. That's accumulating snow at 4 a.m. still. And then the last shot is 7 a.m., where it's basically still snowing like crazy in New York City. And southeast of Boston, but it's basically coming to an end in our region. And that seems like a pretty good time frame of an evening to morning snow. And so in regards to timing impacts, and this is something that the National Weather Service put out, again, the heaviest snowfall most likely in between Thursday, sunset Thursday, and sunrise Friday, several hour period, inch an hour rates. There's also going to be a decent amount of wind, gusts over 30 miles an hour. So those blizzard conditions up in New York City, they might not be as bad here, but they'll be near blizzard. And also wind chills and temperatures will be dropping as well. And I'll show something about that in a little bit as well also. Now, in regards to the computer models, having a little bit of trouble with this storm. Basically, what you see here is the low pressure. It seems like it's pretty far out to sea. It has this little elongation here, this little comma shape. That really shouldn't be. I think that there's going to be more of a low centered in closer to the coast, so any potential screw zone, so to speak, in here, I think will be negated. And I think folks at AccuWeather and some others would be wise to brush up on some of their meteorology skills, because just copy and pasting a model doesn't always work out so well. And this is what I'm talking about. That was a surface map. This is higher up in the atmosphere, 500 millibars, several thousand feet up. But basically, this is what controls the weather at the surface, at that level. And what you have is you have a deep trough here, but yet the energy is over to the right side. That shouldn't be the case. The energy should be centered in here, and the low pressure at the surface should be just to the right of that. So I don't think that this is correct. No reason for the max to be here and for the low to be out there. That's a model error, model bias that the GFS has, and forecasters just don't seem to pay attention to it. This is actually the Canadian, which still has the elongation, but the center of the low is in closer to the coast. And these are winds, these colors you see here. So from Philadelphia up to Boston, that's, yeah, near blizzard to blizzard conditions during the height of the storm. In regards to snowfall totals on the models, this is the GFS, and again, it's been, really big on the snowfall totals in southeast New England. And then here's the kind of like a dry slot that pokes its head up into our region. But that's because it's jumping that low out, and it's jumping it out too much. It should be in closer to the coast. Now, this is what I meant by AccuWeather. They kind of doubled down on dumb today when they've poked that 1 to 3 up in here. They moved the 6 to 12 out of the Allentown region where it had been, and it's getting it closer to New York. 3 to 6 in Philly to Allentown, and 1 to 3. There's not going to be 3 inches in Lancaster and Reading. There's going to be more than that. I can guarantee it. And then this is what they came out with that image in the morning. And this is what I meant by, you can't live and die by every single model run. The European last night, this is that dry slot, little screw zone I was talking about. And again, this is 10 to 1 ratios. That's something to keep in mind here. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. But look, you're talking 1 to 2 inches maybe in this general vicinity. And then this is the midday run, conversely. All of a sudden, it brought in the low closer to the coast, and sure enough, you're getting a heavy snow band in the exact same areas that it was saying would not be getting them. So that's we're getting closer to the event, and the models are beginning to pick up on what's really going on. The GFS always plays catch-up. Some of the high-res models earlier today really got me a little bit concerned, because you see this 6-inch line represented by the purple, and obviously there's a tight cutoff here on the southern end. But again, this is at 10 to 1 ratios, and that's a big area of 6 inches of snow, and then you get into 10-inch plus amounts once you get into these pinks, which start around the Philadelphia area, then go into New York City, and then really expand once you get to southeast New England. The problem is that the snow totals, the snow ratios, are not going to be 10 to 1. They're going to be much higher than that. and that's due to the fact that the storm is coming from Canada. And Canada obviously has cold air, and the colder it is, the more water expands. Typically, snow ratios are 10 to 1. Here they're going to be more like 20 to 1 as an average, and for a time they'll get as high as 30 to 1. So what that means is you can look at these snow totals and actually multiply by 1.5, 2, to actually figure out what they're really showing. This is a high-res American model, the WRF. I think it's a little bit going a little crazy here in southeast PA in our region, and it should have something a little bit more in here, in between the two. I don't know why it's creating two maxes, but again, it's showing low, closer to the coast, so that will have an impact on our region. So jumping ahead, snow ratios. This is exactly what I was talking about. Your local forecasters, if they're not talking about snow ratios, they need to go back to school, because this is from the short range ensembles, and it's showing that in our region you got that orange. That's snow ratios of 20 to 1. You got reds of 25 to 1, getting close to Reading and Allentown. And then at the height of the storm, just before it ends, it actually jumps to 30 to 1 in all of southeast Pennsylvania. The snow piles up when snow ratios are that high. And, I mean, what that means is, and just let me see if the next image might tie into this a little bit. It doesn't, but I'll explain it like this. Say there's a half inch of precipitation. If it was rain, it would be a half inch of liquid, of rain. At a standard 10 to 1 snow ratio, which is what the models show, that would be 5 inches of snow. But if the snow ratios are 20 to 1, well, it's 2 times that. All of a sudden, that same half inch of precipitation is now 10 inches of snow. If it's 30 to 1, it's now 15 inches of snow. Same amount of precipitation, it's just the snow growth region is impacted by that cold air. Now, what we got here is, this is a forecast by one of the people I respect most. His name's DT. He's a private forecaster, works with some energy markets, and also for traders and investors. But he updated today, and he got a general 4 to 8 in southeast PA, 8 to 12, obviously, into the Lehigh Valley region over to New York City, and then the big jackpot areas are southeast New England. And this is what I was talking about with the precip amounts. This darker purple that's in southeast PA, that's 0.5 inches of precip, and that's more to the point of what I was talking about. I guess I had these out of order a little bit. But obviously, I mean, any rain's going to be to the south. Rain won't really come into play in this. Actually, temperature's going to drop as the storm goes on. No sleet to speak of, and no freezing rain. So it's all snow. It's snow or no, as we like to say. This is one of the things I like to look at, the short-range ensembles. I picked Pottstown out, Pottstown, Limerick, just because it's kind of like a centralized area. A little bit all over the place, but you're getting a little bit of a consensus. The NMB models, and what this is 21 different models that they run, and they sort of take an average of. And it's pretty accurate. It's a good way to forecast snow amounts. But the NMB models are a little over 5 inches. NMM has a tendency to run a little dry, closer to 4. ARW is more towards 7 inches. And here are the individual members over here. And you can see there's some that are 10 inches. And then there's some really low ones in here. I don't know what's up with these 2-inch amounts. But, the consensus here, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of 6 to 10-inch amounts. I mean, obviously there's a few that are more like 3 or 4. But I'd say the majority is 6 to 10. And this also has been trending upward with each run. And again, that's at 10 to 1 ratios. And again, ratios will be much higher than that. So my forecast, this is my actual call that I put out earlier today. After I take a look at the runs tonight, maybe I'll make an update. For southeast PA, I have a 6 to 9 inches, and I feel like that might be a little underdone, if anything. But I'm not ready until I see the overnight runs to commit to higher amounts. But I'd say that looks legit, and that's going to be our biggest snowfall of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if 9, 10-inch amounts back their way into Allentown, Philadelphia, maybe even southeast PA. Once you get back into Reading, that whole dry slot, that's going to be one of those X factors that'll need to be watched as the storm goes on. This is from the National Weather Service. They drastically increased their totals. When I looked at it this morning, they just had general 1 to 3 inch amounts in here, and then I think you got into like 4 inch amounts once you got into the Lehigh Valley. But after those midday runs came in, they really cranked things up. General 4 to 6 inches from Philly southward, and then 6 inches plus once you get north of Philadelphia. They don't really have their 8 inch amounts start until you get into the Poconos. And then basically, again, the storm will be coming to an end Friday morning. The cold that's coming in on Friday, like I said, the storm is going to be cold and it's going to get colder as it goes on. But it's going to be the coldest air of the season that we had since 2009, and it's going to feel pretty nasty as it funnels in. And here are some wind chills during the storm. Now this is 7 a.m. Friday morning, so the storm will just be wrapping up at that point. But you're 2 degrees for a wind chill in Philadelphia, -6 in Allentown, -9 Trenton. I mean, and obviously in between, the suburbs here, that's going to be right around 0 or just below. So that's going to be pretty bad as it goes on Thursday night into the storm, and the storm goes on and wraps up on Friday morning. And then the cold that's coming in, obviously I talked about Friday, but Saturday morning, low temperatures in the single digits all around. 7 in Philadelphia, 1 in Allentown. We might get near 0. So that's some of the coldest air we've had since 1994, maybe. Definitely since 2009. 2007 was pretty cold, but then we had a stretch of pretty warm winters there going back. But 94 is the analog for me for this winter, and it's definitely showing up in regards to the frequency of the snowstorms and also the cold that's been occurring. So that's all I got for now. Like I said, I'll make an update if need be to my map after I take a look at the overnight runs, fine-tune things a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up.